respect the flag. That's all I can say.
Alright, this video here is about the schools reopening or not reopening. I have to give kudos to the school districts that have reopened. There's a few of them that have. They had balls enough to step up and say, you know what, kids belong in school. Kids have something like 0.017% chance of getting the virus and spreading the virus. Now, there's a lot of paranoid people out there. I know I just know only a couple that are really paranoid. So they have everybody so paranoid about this stupid China virus. Numbers are all blown out of proportion. But anyway, you have a lot of school districts that refuse to open. Chicago, I say Chicago if anybody remembers Married with Children. Anyway, they actually went on strike to stop from having to go back to school. Now, I'm going to pick on teachers. Gotta warn you. Teachers, to me, if you think about how many days they actually work, how many hours they actually work, they're overpaid for what they do. Some of them they teach in schools that are really rough. Okay, when I went to high school, they were busing certain people in from the ghettos. So in order to pass them, most of the teachers lowered their teaching standard so they would pass. My electronics teacher, science teachers, drafting teachers, all of them refused to lower their teaching standards, and that's why you didn't see a whole lot of diversity, let's say, current term diversity. You didn't see a lot of people in those classes. I remember the electronics class, the instructor, the teacher wrote a formula on the chalkboard. And he says, by the end of this summer, you're going to be able to do that problem. The very next day, most of the people brought in from the ghettos dropped out of the class. There's only 2 or 3 stayed. So basically, the class was probably 50-50 and they all dropped out because they knew they couldn't do it. So fast forward to modern times. Our teaching standard in this country, we're like 25th or something like that. I'm not positive on the number, but we're something like 25th on teaching levels of schools worldwide. They might have increased it since then. They might be up around 14th place. But I know they were we're like a 25th, which is sad, considering we spend more money per child than any other nation, or most other nations. So there's no reason, like when Michael went to school up in Millington, some of the teachers were more concerned about what the student was wearing than giving him a good education. And that's how a lot of these teachers are. A lot of the teachers are that way. I didn't say all, but many are. So anyway, you have teachers that don't want to go back to school because they're afraid of catching the China virus. Do your frickin' job. You're getting paid to sit at home on their ass doing online. One of my customers, his kids were being taught a couple hours a day online teaching. Really, people? It's coming up on a year since many students have not had the proper education because of chicken shits and paranoia of the China virus. Kids need to be back in school. World Health, kids need to be back in school. Even Fauci had said kids are better off in school. And chances of the kids spreading the virus and bringing it home are like minuscule. Now, If your kid has asthma, something like that, where it's an underlying condition, then absolutely. If you don't want to send them to school because you're paranoid that the kid's going to catch something, absolutely keep them home. A lot of teachers, I get tired of hearing on the fake news, oh well, teachers want to go back to school. Okay, let's take up with that. If the teachers wanted to go back to school, then why haven't they got a letter together for their school district? Or why haven't they gone to the meetings and said, there's 100 teachers in this school district and 75% of them say, let's go back to school. You don't see that, do you? You don't see teachers going and saying, yeah, we want to be back in school teaching your little monsters. No, they don't say that because they don't want to be back in school. A handful of them, yes. But I really think that the majority of teachers don't want to go back to school to teach the kids. They just don't. And I think that's wrong. The harm that has befallen our children of this nation, you want to come up? Come on. You can do it. Is just ridiculous. It's harmful not having the kids in school. One, our educational level sucks in this country. President Trump wanted to do the voucher program, our school of choice, which would force crappy schools to do better. Because it's like, you know what? We're losing government money for every kid that's going to a different school. That should be going to our school. So it would force the idiotic teachers and the idiotic school boards to develop an education so the kids get an education. Look into it. There's kids are graduating without knowing how to read and write, without doing math. How can that be? And it's like, that's why half these companies bring in foreign educated workers to do a lot of jobs because they have the education to come in and do that job. How many, like balancing a checkbook, kids don't know how to do that. Kids don't know. When I was in school, Pledge Allegiance. Every single morning, you said the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't do that anymore. They should, but they don't do that anymore. They stopped prayer in school. And the way I look at prayer in school, I don't do the whole holier now crap. But if kids want to say a prayer before class, they should be allowed to do that. If some other kid in class is offended by that, just sit there, keep your mouth shut. No one's saying, hey, you need to do prayers. They're not forcing the prayers on the kids that don't want to do it. You have teachers that are like, oh, well, we want proper protection and we want kids to be vaccinated. Okay? People that need to be vaccinated first are old farts like me. Heart and lung problems. I should be vaccinated, which I have no intentions of getting the vaccine. I'll tell you that right now. That's a whole another video on the vaccine. But in a way, kids need to be in school. And I hold a lot of that against the teachers for not going to the school board and saying, look, I'm a teacher because I care about the students. I want them to get an education. They need to be in school. And they would fight to be in school. Instead, the majority of teachers' unions and teachers are fighting not to be in school. The harm to the students, to the children of this country, is immense. They need to be in school. The emotional distress for the students. They're feeling isolated. They can't see their friends. They're isolated. They can't go to school and gossip about this one and gossip about that one and cause this girl to cry or that girl to cry. Or bullies to pick on kids. That's all part of school. Bullying is wrong, absolutely. You got to stand up for yourself. But anyway, I really do believe kids, World Health Organization, even Fauci, pretty much have all said students are better off in school. So that's just a real quick my opinion on the school. I really don't want to get into the education problem, which I did touch on. That falls onto the teachers. It falls onto the federal government. They're trying to teach our kids that stupid 1876 project or whatever, which is all lies. You can look into it. It's lies, is what they're teaching. You want to teach these students that this country is systemic racism. Everybody is racist. Give me a fucking break, would you? That's just such bullshit. Anyway, students need to be in school. The teachers need to get off their ass, go to the school boards and say, look, we need to get our kids in school. They consider them frontline workers, so they need to get the vaccine. They have the ones that are teaching, if they have no health issues and they're young, they don't need the vaccine. People like me need the vaccine, and guess who's not getting it? It's not even available for me. Okay? The VA, they don't even have it. The Saginaw VA hospital, they got a note on the front door and says vaccines are not available here. Right? Who cares about the veterans? Most veterans that go to the VA are generally my age, 40s. But anyway, they're my age, and the vaccine is not even available for veterans. You have I can't get into the vaccines. That's a whole nother video. But anyway, kids need to be in school. Period. It's hurting our kids' education worse than what it was doing before. Kids don't have graduation. Last year graduations were canceled. Some kids look forward to that. I never did. I didn't give a shit. Michael didn't care. He didn't want to go to graduation, and people tried to pressure me into making him go to graduation. I'm like, no, because when I left, when I went to school, it was kindergarten through 8th, and then 9th through 12th, for high school. Now they have middle school. But my mom forced me to go to the 8th grade graduation. I did not want to go. I was pissed that she forced me to go. And I'm like, I will never force my kid to go to graduation. So when Michael didn't want to go to his graduation, I says, are you sure? Whatever decision you make, you got to live with that. And he was like, I don't want to go. I said, well, I'm not going to make you go. My mom wanted me to push him into going to graduation. So did his mom. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. He doesn't want, I'm not going to force him and have him carry resentment because I forced him to go to his graduation when he didn't want to. But anyway, the harm to kids is ridiculous, people. Kids need to be in school. Scientific fact. You always hear the left and Fauci and all the rest of them. Ooh, well, scientific fact. Scientific fact. That's what we rely on, the scientific facts. Scientific facts say kids should be in school. Teachers should not fight that. Teachers should get off their ass, get into school, and start educating the kids. That's what their job is. So they're getting paid to sit at home and really give a very poor education, worse than if they were doing it in person. So that's my opinion. Kids need to be in school. Schools should be open. Kids need that. They already don't do social very well because they're always texting. So kids don't even talk to other kids half the time. So their social skills are like non-existent because they're not intermingling with other students. They text most of the time. Now they can't even be in school to talk to people by the lockers or to talk in class when you're supposed to be getting educated. No gym class. No sports activities, after school sports activities, no cheerleading, no football, no basketball, no nothing. That is totally asinine. Kids need to be in school. Open the schools, people. That's what needs to be done. So if you don't like the video, fine. If you like it, fine. I keep saying, hey man, give me a thumbs up, but most people don't even give me a thumbs up. I don't know if they forget or just don't want to do it. Which is fine, because half the time I don't give thumbs up either. So I appreciate you watching my video. If you like it, tell a friend about it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Thank you for watching my videos.